Stoffe.
All right, sorry for the approximate 10 minutes delay, but I would like to thank you all for showing up here and supporting the teams here in the colorful shirts. Maybe a bit of applause to start off. Those guys have been working tirelessly through the whole weekend, and we'll see soon what they came up with. So, tonight we're going to talk about InCube, and it's going to be, if that works, yeah, it's going to be me, Dario, hi. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Executive VP of the ETH Entrepreneur Club. And to my left-hand side, we have Sebi, one of the main organizers of InCube 2018. And he has been in the same situation as those guys exactly 1 year ago. So 1 year ago, he came out of the cube as exhausted as those guys are. And so, yeah, we'll also maybe hear some of his perspective. All right, but first of all, I would like to hand over to my friend Lea. She's the president of ETH Entrepreneur Club, and she will tell you all about what we do and why we do it. Yes.
So welcome also from my side. It's super nice to see so many familiar faces here. Now that we have been distributed over the whole of Switzerland, even on the other side of the ocean during this weekend, and maybe families, friends that watch from home during this time, then also participants that are hopefully healthy but tired all together here. Also the sponsors might be a bit nervous, supporters might be nervous about what comes out this evening out of these boxes. My goal for tonight is to tell you who the ETH Entrepreneur Club is and why we put so much energy into a project like InCube. To answer these kind of questions, we look normally at the mission of a club. And the mission of the ETH Entrepreneur Club is to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs by bringing entrepreneurial-minded people together and supporting them in the execution of their ideas. To put this maybe a bit more simple, what we do is we gather very intelligent, motivated people, as these ones here, try to inspire them about entrepreneurship, give them the tools that they need for that, educate them in this way, and then as a last step, accelerate them by giving opportunities where they can show what they learned, and also maybe taking away the fear of starting something new by doing it together. And doing it together, I'm not just talking about the committee and the members of the Entrepreneur Club that did a very great job during this weekend. So thanks for that already from my side. But I'm mainly talking about the participants that worked very hard this weekend, and I want to show how the Entrepreneur Club can still support you on your way towards entrepreneurship in the future, even after this project. And to show that, maybe some examples from our events on these 3 different levels of inspiration, education, and acceleration. So get your friends inspired, maybe take them to the Fuck Up Night, or already to the kickoff talk happening this week. If you're working on a very interesting project in your lab that has potential for a startup, then come to From Science to Startup. And now that you've already been accelerated, join the EC Award with your new ideas, maybe win some money for your first prototype, or come to the startup speed dating if the thing with the team didn't work out that well in the cube. But to come back to the main event of this evening, the InCube should cover all these 3 levels of entrepreneurship. We try to give an interdisciplinary team the chance of experiencing this entrepreneurial journey for the first time, and maybe making already your first steps towards creating your own business. We tried to inspire you with the starter box that we sent out some weeks ago. Then during the InCube, you had a lot of education, I hope. And now, during this weekend, in condensed time and condensed space, you were hopefully accelerated towards entrepreneurship. And this reminds me a bit of a pressure cooker, this condensed time and condensed space, but maybe cooking startups instead of potatoes. So. After this weekend, I would not want you to leave alone. From the club side, we're very interested in having you then also growing your ideas and your personal career in the co-working space that we run throughout the year. So I would be very happy to see you there, maybe working on the project that you started just now. And with this, I will already hand over to Dario and Sebastian for opening the cubes and see what happened during this weekend. Oh, that's nice.
All right, so maybe some of you here in the audience don't know exactly what InCube was all about. Maybe you just saw this crazy cube on the Polyterrasse outside and decided to pop by. So I'll just quickly go over it again, the whole principle, what we as the club basically came up with, and we'll see what we did with InCube. So I'd say 2 years ago, some members from our club came up with the idea of, exactly doing what Lea already explained, inspiring, educating, and accelerating everything in one event. So we created this concept of InCube by putting bright minds, experts, into a cube in the public space, leave them there for 4 days in this creative environment, and let them solve real-world challenges and hopefully come up with really nice solutions. We did that already last year when we had 3 cubes all over Zurich. That was basically the start of this project. But because the team that is organizing this year's edition, they were all inside the cube last year. So they basically knew, okay, what was good, what was bad, and what could be improved. So I'll let Sebi explain what they did to further improve this event and make it more valuable to the students.
Thank you very much. So what did we do this year? What were the learnings from last year first? So the InCube itself was more or less like a hackathon. So you bring brilliant mind together for 2 days, hack something together, pitch it, finished. But we don't want this. We want to really foster entrepreneurship. So what we started, as Lea said already, with a starter cube. This is basically a cube that what they received when you sent in your application and were actually confirmed to take part of this student journey. So it made the material about entrepreneurship, how to do design thinking, how the whole program of the student journey will look like. Then we went to InCube. So what we basically did is we flew in the people from MIT, then we put all the students from Switzerland, put them to the mountains in Montana, yeah, and gave them enriching workshops. We went for a hike. The goal was really to have a group spirit, because as we grew this year, we're going to the US, we're going to Montana, we're going to Bern and Zurich. Not everyone is in Bern. So on one hand, we want to grow national and international. And to actually grow, you need to have a community in place. And that was about InCube. Then we do the InCube. That was this weekend. Have 4 days, work very hard on an idea, try to find needs of the people, and create a prototype out of it, and pitch it tonight. And the 4th step is actually to do a startup. We highly encourage you to keep going with your ideas, even if you don't win the prize tonight. It's you can actually really profit from a network. So, like this. All right. So, why scaling? I personally think this is a great concept. It really changes your mind. Entrepreneurship is about the mindset and not about just having a skill. It's about the mindset trying to create something new. And so did we. We tried to create something new and go international. And let's see how this works out tonight. So first of all, I want to quickly show you what challenges the students worked on. First of all, we had at Boston, at the MIT, the MedTech Challenge, Medicational Technologies. In Bern, the orange one, we had the Energy Challenge. Then in Gramontana, we had the AI Challenge. And in Zurich, we had Educational Challenge as well, the Mobility Challenge. To quickly start, I want to invite the speakers for each challenge. The first one is from BKW. That would be...
Yeah. Should work.
Yes.
Hello, hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. My name is Eike Johan. I'm a product and a business developer at BKW. BKW, most of you might not know it, even in Zurich. It's an energy utility, mainly operating in Bern, but we are on the transition from a traditional energy utility to a service provider for energy and services. So in this transition, one of the big questions that we have is how do we consume efficient energy services in the decentralized age? So how is energy going to be consumed kind of in the future? This is how do people get access to energy? How do we pay for energy in the future? How we do supply our each individuals? How do we supply ourselves with energy? And yeah, this is a very broad question on the one hand, but on the other hand, it's also a market right now in Switzerland, which is pretty difficult. There's a lot of regulations, and so we are very keen in knowing how in the future, or maybe even in the near future, things are going to change this market. So BKW, why is this important for us? Like I said, the energy market is changing a lot, and we want to be part of this. So we are looking into a new energy system with decentralized power, decentralized batteries, and a lot more of power to the consumer. With the digitalization, the consumer will have a lot more power, so you have to be a lot more consumer focused when you build products. In the future, with the also liberalization of the market, the consumer will have more power to choose the energy utility or provide his own power, feed it into the grid. There are a lot of changes going on, and this is mainly a big challenge for us because our current business model of selling electricity is disrupted in the future. Energy prices are very low, and so we cannot make a lot of money by just selling electricity in the future. We have to come up with new ideas. So the strategy, like I said, BKW is a traditional, or was a traditional energy utility with a grid and power production. And our main focus now is on really lifting up the energy service and infrastructure service sector. So we have, like I said, energy, we have power grid, that's what we had, and now we invest a lot in building solutions, infra services, and engineering to get more market share on this service sector in the energy. This is just a very brief introduction to our company. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So next, I warmly invite Huawei. That's Xavier. Yes, please. Thank you. Slides are just go to the right. Yes, perfect.
So, hi, how are you? So my name is Javier Picorel. So I work at Huawei's Munich Research Center. I'm actually a PhD graduate from EPFL, so the ETH sister school. First off, I want to say that the following slides are mostly a personal view of this industry, and not necessarily the view of Huawei. And I essentially do this in my free time. Okay, so I want to introduce the challenge of autonomous mobility in a globally connected future in an efficient, safe, sustainable way, and providing also augmented experience. So essentially, I want to focus first on on two words. One is autonomous, and the other one is globally. So although there are many connotations, my vision is that autonomous refers to to solving the problem of going to place A to place B autonomously, essentially automatically, and you essentially remove that problem out of the people, and so that they can concentrate of their other problems, which I guess there are no few, and globally refers to the idea that everything is connected, right? I mean, not only people, but also devices talking to each other. So why does the industry care? Because there is a big market. So the ICT market is projected that in 2025 there is going to be a couple of trillions, tens of trillions of dollars, and obviously this is very important to get a piece of this market. Another set of impressive numbers is the the number of netizens, the number of smartphones, and including the number of IoT devices that they can reach up to 100 billion devices, which is a very impressive number. And also the return of investment of the ICT industry compared to other sectors is actually 6.7 times bigger. And Huawei as an ICT giant essentially can be a technology enabler of industries to actually go digital, and which is an important industry, obviously the automation industry. And there are projections that they say that by 2030, the market is going to be worth $6.7 trillion. And even today, it constitutes like 4% of European Union's GDP. And not only there are projections on the size of the market, but also that vehicles are going to be electric, autonomous, and connected. And ICT can bring the table in terms of electricity, for example, the fact to make smart batteries, right? You add logic to the batteries so that they become smarter and then they reduce the power consumption. There's actually very interesting research on it. Also, obviously, ICT technology can actually bring on the table the fact that our cars, vehicles can actually go to place B, A and B automatically and connected, right? Although every single, autonomous vehicle today operates locally, we believe that in the future there is going to be a trend of cars connected to each other or to a smart network infrastructure to provide a safer and a richer driving experience. So overall, we want to move to a digitalized automotive industry because we will think that it benefits everyone. And obviously, Huawei is always hiring, so if you want to work in very cool stuff, I encourage you to approach me. And yeah, we'll be very welcome to tell you what we do at Huawei. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Xavier. All right. Voilà. Next, I invite Roland Siegwart to the stage. He's the representative of Geberufsstiftung and ETH Zurich. Please. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Welcome, everyone. So, how can digital technology assist in a lifelong learning process? This is the question we ask to the incubator, or the InCube. Research and education, and especially also innovation, is actually the main blood for Switzerland, for the success of Switzerland. And of course, people are typically the main driver of all these elements, and it's about people, typically people like you, which lived for 4 days in the InCube. Digital transformation puts a lot of new challenges on education and innovation. And on the other side, it offers also new opportunities how to do lifelong education and innovation. And this is the task which we gave the young people. So Geberuf is supporting innovation and especially startups through venture cake, through project support at universities and other means since about 20 years. And for those who have good ideas and probably developed good ideas recently in the last 4 years, we will have a new program next year, which is open for new tools and concepts for education in primary school or later on, which use all the new technologies which are today available from digital world. Thanks very much.
All right. So, as you might saw, Raphael he also came down. He's from Montana. That's probably why it took him a bit longer from the mountains. So, so we quickly get the slides ready, and then you should be good to go.
Minutes now.
Here's the clicker. All right.
Oh, but does that not work? Just give me a second.
So Crans-Montana in Valais, Switzerland, one of the best ski resorts. Yes, please go on. So, Crans-Montana. Crans-Montana is one of the best ski stations in the world. We have a unique value proposition. We have many products. We have ski, golf, one of the best golf course of the world. We have biggest tournament in Crans-Montana. We have a 9 holes, 18 holes. We have a great nightlife. What else? But there are sometimes some customers arrive in Crans-Montana and they do not have exactly what they deserve to have. They are looking for golf, but perhaps they want to have also some nightlife, some good restaurants, but they miss that. Why do they miss that? Because they have no time to look for the right information on the right time. So we are looking on the solution to provide them a personalized, just-in-time information to have the best experience when they come to Crans-Montana, and when they leave, they say, I had the best that I could have ever expected. So we asked the engineers to find a solution for that, and they were great. They have discussed with many people in Crans-Montana, and now we are looking for the results. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. So now, voila. So now we go over the pond. So we will do a live chat with Bijoy Sagar. He's the Chief Digital Technology Officer of Stryker. And we will happy to have him online. So please bear with us. We even go further now. And we will
Call
Skype with him
right now. Seems we have some audio.
Good afternoon.
We cannot see you yet.
Oh,
We just hear you.
Hola.
Ah, there we go.
There we go.
Now
Hello. Hey.
very good. Good evening. I'm sorry I'm not there in person. Looking at all the energy in the room, I wish I was there. I'm Bijoy Sagar. I'm the Chief Digital Officer for Stryker, and I'm thrilled to be sponsoring the MIT team for the first InCube competition in the US. Stryker is a Fortune 500 company that is in the medical technology business. We have tens of thousands of products that go into hospitals, in the operating rooms, and in the ambulances, not to mention in the surgery environments. We are over 12 billion in revenue, 33,000 people, global outreach. We spend about 787 million in R&D right now. Our mission is, together with our customers, we're driven to make healthcare better. Next slide, please. So when we talked about this competition, we wanted to come up with something that is directly aligned to our mission that helps our customers, which include surgeons, nurses, ambulance technicians, hospital administrators, deliver the best outcome for the patients. So imagine a situation when your loved one falls ill on a Friday evening. You call an ambulance and every minute counts. Traffic is terrible, distance to the hospital is far. You don't even know if the nearest hospital is the best place to provide the care the patient needs. More and more people are coming into healthcare today, and they like better care, but the costs are ever increasing. So governments, healthcare systems, insurance companies, and others are affected by that. 38,000 deaths happen a year from stroke alone in the US. This could be hundreds of thousands of deaths in the world over that could be prevented with early detection and quicker transportation. So when you take that case, don't you want the best outcome for your loved one using all these technologies? Healthcare is getting disrupted by digital technologies, and that's why we selected this question, reimagining the ambulance of the future. It aligns well with our mission, but it is, in the end, driven to make a great outcome for the patients. So also remember that ambulance is not just a transportation device. It's also a device for early diagnosis, it's a communication system, and it's an extension of hospital where the treatment begins. So we're really excited to see what the team has come up with. As a former resident of Switzerland, I am personally thrilled to be part of this, and may the best team win. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bijoy, and have a great rest of the day and enjoy the pitches. Bye. Okay.
So no longer to wait. That's why you came all here. You see those young students with the very colorful shirts. So if you see your color popping up, it's your turn. So first of all, I want to introduce you to the BKW challenge. So the question was, how do we consume energy efficiently in a decentralized world? They worked in Bern. They are a group of 6 from all different backgrounds. And now I warmly invite you to come to the stage and do your pitch. So, quick logistical matter, it's always 5 minutes pitch and then 5 minutes Q&A by the jury. In the end, every group will be judged, graded, and then we will sum up with a ceremony.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really glad to have you here, also from my side and from my team. A warm welcome. So, as we've heard before, how are we going to consume energy efficiently and in a decentralized way? That's a very good question. You know, time is ticking at a very fast pace, and we really know that it's not going to decrease in rate. And we should also know that pollution and greenhouse gases are not going to decrease in our atmosphere. So we really have a very clear vision, and we really want to lead the future, and we want to design the future. Meet SolarRent. When we went out to the streets and asked people, and especially SMEs, so small and medium-sized companies, what their problem was when they were consuming energy, they had very clear statements. They came up with 3 very distinct problems. First off was regionality. So when they were actually consuming energy and having a green label on it, they were fearing that the energy wasn't actually coming from the local neighborhood, from neighboring cluster, right? So they were always having this issue that maybe the energy is coming from northern Germany, from the offshore parks. Secondly, communication. Sustainable SMEs, they really put a lot of time and they invest a lot of time to communicate a very sustainable firm value to their customer base. And this really was one important aspect when they said, like, yeah, I don't know, like, where is the energy coming from? How shall I say that I'm 100% self-sufficient and 100% sustainable? Last but not least, when we talk about renewable energies and sustainable energies, then we really have had the feeling that the customers, or in this situation, the people we talked to, they had a problem with seasonality. When you talk about solar panels, for example, you know that like in the wintertime, it's very hard to actually make sure that your company can retrieve 100% solar energy. So we really thought, okay, wow, so these are 3 distinct problems they faced. That shouldn't be the case. I don't know why that changed now. It wasn't the case before, but yeah, we'll just skip. Imagine in the middle you have the cube. That really pictures the store. Meet Maggie. She's 28 years old. She's the owner of a food chain, and they have a very clear vision. They want to have a clean, they want to have a green, and a very sustainable and self-sufficient future when it comes to consumption of energy. First off, facility rental. People who own stores in urban areas, they usually don't have the control to decide whether or not they can put solar panels on houses. So this was the first point. Customers who rent, or in our case, SMEs in urban areas. Maggie, she has this very clear vision that she wants to have a customer base where she can actually deliver green and sustainable energy. So she really wants to communicate it transparently to their customer base. Thirdly, we also thought that if you foster this community of sustainable SMEs, then you have to really focus on their mindset. So they have a certain homogeneous green mindset. Now we have a very clear and concise solution to this problem. We are opting to rent out modular solar panels on industry sites, on industry roof terraces, which are not used up to now. Secondly, on a second step, we'll go out and certify them, so they have a very clear communication to their customer base. And this will be a label which is nationwide acknowledged and also has a very high credibility. And thirdly, we really want to put a lot of time to invest in the community among SMEs who have a sustainable vision and who have a vision of really fostering a future which is not going to impact generations to come. Now, this 3-pillar solution doesn't come very easy. We really want to start out first with the first pillar, meaning the rental mechanism, the renting of modular solar panels. Meet Meg again, the 20-year-old food chain lady. She came to us one day and said, look, I really want to have this solar panel on my roof, but I can't. My landlord said it's not possible. So we said, no problem. We've got this cool partner named IKEA, and they have a huge area on the roof terrace, which is not used up to now. So we asked them if they cannot rent a certain space for us. No problem. We deployed our solar panels. We would do the maintenance, the deployment, and the installment of them. After that, we delivered to the existing grid from our third-party partners. And after that, Maggie gets the clean green energy. Problem solved, right? Talking money.
All right. So
thank you.
The time is up.
Cool.
All right.
velike presentasjon. Sorry. Yeah.
So how it goes now, the jury can ask questions, and it will be also live through to Michigan. So, are there any?
Any questions?
So in the beginning, you addressed also the question that some green power will not be available during wintertime and so on. Now, how are you going to solve this wish of the customer that she would like also to have power in the winter from her solar panels?
I will pass on the question to Piyush. He's the electrical engineer.
Thank you so much. Like you asked, there is still some degree of solar energy that would be available during winter time, which we can just go ahead with. But our main selling point, or one of our value proposition, would be that we would use the excess energy during the summertime and store it in chemical form to be used later in the winters. The technology is in the development phase, but it is a very fast-growing technology and something worth investing for the future. And we are already in talks with people who are working in this direction, and we have some really good insights and really good communication with that kind of, to maintain that kind of a system. Yeah.
Sure.
Do you know if this could be applied to any kind of roof, or there are some problems in some buildings that, due to some requirements, they don't allow this kind of system? And the second question will be, white roofs only? Like, have you considered any other, like, ground, or like, why is only the roof?
So for the first question about the legal aspects, we'll start by rent the actual roof possessing already the solar panels, so that we rent only the portion that the people don't want to use, and that will give us the time to really explore in depth and know which roof we can install solar panel, test the market. And for the second question, which can you repeat this second question actually?
Like, why only roofs? Like, there is many other areas unused, right?
So the idea is really to place all the source of energy really nearby the SMEs, and so that the customer really know that it's not coming from the landscape, and so we'll focus mainly on the rooftops and not landscape as away of the cities.
Thank you, first of all. This was our challenge. My question is, you tried to solve a lot of problems here, and there's a very technology-based approach also involved. Where do you see your MVP? And for us, it's always very important to you ask customers in advance, but it's very important to very fastly go on the street and then produce something to have a product and then reiterate and see if it's really working. So how do you see your MVP here?
I think like what is really special about what we do is that the customers can come and like we can really tell them kind of which solar panel belongs to them. So that it's not just somewhere, some kind of solar panel. They actually can visit the site where they are and can say like this part, depending on how much they pay, this part like belongs to me for the time that I rent it. So they really have a bonding to it. They know it's regional, they know it's transparent, they know where it is.
If I may just add on that. So our first prototype, we would start with taking a space on a rooftop from an industry and then asking people, do you want to contribute to, how much would you want to pay for that? Asking businesses. And then we'd deploy as many solar panels as they would want.
Do you have an estimation of how much people will be ready to rent? Because this is a trigger. Do I buy or do I rent? Do you have an estimation of the price of rental?
In these 4 days, we didn't have time to really go into the numbers, so we did some questioning about the rental or buying system, but we are really heading to these people who don't have the possibility to buy it. And the renting system also is not a long-term commitment. So they can decide to rent it for 12 months or maybe 5 years, but it's not a commitment for 30 years, how you would have it on your own roof.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And I also got a question in via mobile phone from Bijoy in New Jersey. And he asks you guys, how do you think you will address the regulatory constraints? So, for example, will the utility companies support moving the power from these locations and let you monetize?
So when we talked with BKW representatives in the last few days, they said that, as we know, in Switzerland, the market is going to be liberalized in the next 5 to 10 years, best case scenario. And when this actually takes place, then you're not actually bound to actually partner with your regional energy provider. As you said before, in Bern would be BKW or EVB. So you could really change your energy provider. You have really the flexibility to say, I want to opt out for the solar panels. In this case, I can be flexible. I don't have any long-term commitment, and you can really change around within Switzerland, and there's no real restriction on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good. Thank you very much. So, projector on. Good. So, the green shirt. So, it was the challenge for Gran Montana, and in a nutshell, it was artificial intelligence future within an integrated resort. So, who was the team? The team consisted of 5 students, also from different backgrounds, and I'm warmly inviting you as well on the stage to give you a final pitch. And your time is ticking now.
So when I first thought of Gran Montana, I expected a highly developed mountain resort, but I was wrong.
Oh.
What I encountered is the tourists who first go there, they go to the tourist office, and what they get there when they search for events is this. A booklet of 156 pages, mainly consisting of ads. So how do people who do not even go to the second page on Google search through all this to find their personal recommendations, what they should do in their holidays? And we also went to the streets and we asked them, and they confirmed us this is simply useless. So what we did is we wanted to challenge this, or we wanted to change this overwhelming quantity of information. There is a huge communication gap.
So let's say we have a good friend Bob coming to Gran Montana for a holiday, and he's lazy, just as I am. If I go on traveling, I would want a perfect boyfriend out there who's going to plan everything for me, and he'd better figure out what I like. And that's why we're here. We're going to make Bob's stay in Gran Montana effortless and personalized. Here we have BeepIt. BeepIt is a system that will make everybody's stay in any kind of resort or traveling much easier and hassle-free. There will be screens in the public spaces such as bus stops or hotel lobbies where you can access your personalized recommendations for what to eat and where to go just for you. And all you have to do is beep it with your special bracelet, just that, for you, everything, easy. And this special bracelet can also act as an access key to the whole Gran Montana that make your life much easier. Let's say you want to enjoy a spa, you beep it. You want to pay your bill at the cafe, you beep it. You want to go on a hike and make sure you're on the right track, make sure that you're safe, you beep it. Simple as that. And let me show you how the whole system works. So when Bob checks in the hotel, we just simply ask him the normal information like what's your age, your occupation, gender, why you're here. But with a few more clicks, we also ask you what you would like to do in Crans-Montana. So let's say he's a foodie, he likes good food, and wants to go on a few hikes. And based on that, we can provide him with some very preliminary relevant recommendation first. But hold on tight, here's where the magic journey begins. We are able to learn more and more about Bob and improve our precision in the recommendation as during his stay in Crans-Montana using the bracelet with our machine learning system. Let's say he's been enjoying the food and wine in Valles and also going on hikes. But we also found out that he's been going to bars, enjoy some nice drinks during the night. So we figured that, oh, he's an active person on the inside. And he might want a cool night out. We also found a very cool event in the club with a nice DJ. So let's say, like, let's pitch it to Bob. We put it in the recommendation section on the right here, as you can see. We did it, and we hit it. He's interested. He looked into it, he booked the ticket, paid with his bracelet, and everything is done. We planned everything for him.
All right, but we don't only focus on the user. We also focus on the resorts, because they are interested in the data which comes out of the system to improve their facilities and to make the infrastructure and their organization better. So, in the end, this helps to reach the overall goal to increase the revenue by making more visitors to return. Let's go to the business side. We don't want to charge the tourists directly, but we charge the tourist, the resort management for our services which they can offer to their tourists. So the potential in Switzerland is huge. We calculated that we have a market potential of 180 million Swiss francs. And we want to start with a first seed funding in the area of 200,000 francs. So we thrive to shed a new light on the tourist management in the connected area with a personal, effortless, and a scalable solution. Let's beep it and live it. Thank you.
Hi. So why do you need a special device? Why can't I use my phone with an app?
Yeah, so we actually went out and we asked many people, like, would you actually use an app? And we received the feedback that, no, I don't want to use an app. I just have so many apps in my phone, I don't want to download one more app. And then also that downloading an app is actually an effort. So if you go to a resort for, let's say, 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, you don't want to download an app for that. And also, which actually proves this, that Crans-Montana has an app, and no one is really using it.
Can you give us probably a little bit more details about the beep system? What is this actually doing, and is this communicating with a central unit, or?
So our idea would be to have monitors in public spaces and also in hotels, which detects the bracelet, and then you get your personalized feedback. And for instance, also in the mountains, you could imagine having the signs where you could, that would simply detect the bracelet and make sure that you're on the right track.
I again have a question from Bijoy. And he asks, how is this different from the Disney Magic Band? There's, in Disney World, they have this bracelet that basically does a similar thing.
Yeah, so the Disney Magic Band is basically developed for Disney World. It's also developed for the resorts. And actually what we do is quite similar, but the Disney Magic Band does not provide you recommendations. So here the whole idea is not actually the bracelet. The bracelet is only the access to our application. It's what you beep. But actually what our product is the AI system, the machine learning system behind it. So whenever you actually beep it, we learn more things about the customer, and then you can actually provide this information to the resorts, and they can offer a better experience for their customers as well. And that's the Disney Magic Band does not offer.
Thank you. Any more questions from the jury? Yes? No? Yes? No? Okay.
Well, once more, the minimal viable product question, because like the app question, adding this to this app question is a lot cheaper to at least prove your business model. You know, you have a big investment if you want to go with a hardware device, a big platform behind that, and also an app is easier scalable. I think scalability of your business model is, I think, is possible. But if you have a lot of hardware devices, I mean, how do you think? Wouldn't you think it would be a nice first step to start with an app to just prove maybe the app is not very good from Crans Montana? Sorry.
Yeah, so we basically think that the app would improve it. So people don't want to use it. We went out, we interviewed people who are 20, 18, or even 50, 60-year-olds, and they said that no, they never want to download an app. So we can develop something which maybe is easier to use, but if no one is using it, then it's useless. And that's why we came up with this mixture of the bracelet. So the bracelet actually is just the device which you take with you. You use it for, let's say, payments, for check-in, for your locker and everything. And then that you can actually link to your app if you want it. We will, of course, develop an app because there are some people who still want to have an app and then see their preferences on the app. Like when they go to, let's say, restaurant, and after that they go hiking, then after that we can just really give them a better hiking route, a better restaurant in the area. And therefore we will have an app, but still that's the only an app wouldn't prove anything.
Actually, you answered more or less the question I wanted to ask. Can you do more with the bracelet, opening the door? Obviously, yes. So where are you going to make your money out of it? By selling the bracelet, selling an entire system, offering the service, or?
Yeah, so the model is a subscription model, and the customer is the resort itself. So it's basically, as you can imagine, it's a B2B to C model. So if we do not satisfy the end customer, the tourist, then we do not come with the resort itself to buy our service. So we actually provide, we will not charge the tourist, we would charge the customer, we would charge the tourist management for our service. So tourist management buys, let's say, 5,000, 10,000 bracelets from us, and the whole AI system, and then what we support them is the operation of the AI system and also the bracelets if there is something with them. And how we make money is we have a price which we came up with, just 18 francs per tourist, and that's what we would actually charge them per. So let's say if they have incoming 10,000 tourists, we would charge 18 francs for that.
Right. Time is up. Time is coming for the next team. So thank you. Well, merci. Thank you. So now we have Huawei with the challenge autonomous mobility in a global connected future. The team itself was at Zielpost in Zurich and consisting of those 6 lovely guys, which I now warmly welcome on stage. Clicker? Who's the clicker? So next. Start. Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, let me tell you a story. But for that, I'm going to need you to close your eyes. Now you're blind. I'm going to need you to reimagine the route that you've taken to get into this audience room. Say that there is a glass cube in front of you, but you can't see it. Say that you make it to the entrance room somehow. And once you get there, how do you get in? And how do you navigate through it? You can open your eyes. Yesterday, I met Stefan. He was walking in the main train station of Zurich, guided by those white lines, when suddenly he bumps into a person, but surprisingly, he wasn't scared. Unfortunately, he got used to it. We, at Orama, have understood the problems that Stefan has and have the answers. Let me tell you what we do. Orama will safely and autonomously guide Stefan through his journey from his starting point to the goal. He will not only be able to get by himself to ETH Zurich, but he will also be fully aware of what surrounds him and also fully understanding his location. But now you must be wondering how we do it, right? There comes the hardcore part. The heart of our product is our glasses and our software, which connects and all the elements that we need for this product to work. So you can tell your software where you wish to go, and then with 2 different inputs, the mapping service and the visual guidance, the data is translated into the app and then communicated back to the user through 2 different methods. We have the earphone phones that will give audio description of your location, and the vibrating hand wrists that will steer you during your navigation. But now, how big is the market for such a product in Switzerland?
The market actually is quite big. Okay, worldwide, there are 285 million people who are blind, of which 325,000 live in Switzerland. Our early adopters are young people who have the feeling that they're limited in their mobility and who want to try out a new technology. So we're aware that we're not the only ones who want to solve that problem. But what differentiates us from our competitors? So we have those guiding sticks. They're actually smart ones. For example, when you go close to an obstacle, it starts to vibrate. But it actually doesn't give you navigation from, let's say you want to go from point A to point B. The same with the dog. Where you have the navigation aspect is in Google Maps. But the problem is Google Maps only gives you navigation on a macro level. So imagine as soon as you're on a sidewalk, Google Maps doesn't guide you. And also, it's not just about going right or left. So there the language is limited. But what our bracelet can do is it gives you a way more detailed sense of where to go. So what makes us unique is that we combine those both aspects. So our timeline. We're going to develop an MVP. We're going to go to blind schools to test it with blind people there. After that, we develop a product. And after we have done that, there are several certification processes, for example, from the IV. And after that, we can enter the market. This is our team. We are Orama. Your vision is our vision. Thank you.
So I warmly invite also the jury to ask questions. Who wants? Voilà.
Yes. So in principle, this idea is not totally new. We actually did this with students about 20 years ago. But it's good that you come back on this idea, I think. But now there is a lot of new offers, Google Maps and so on. But there is still the local navigation. So the dog, for example, will actually prevent you to fall downstairs or hit whatever. So how are you going to do this so that the blind person can really go without the dog through different crowded environments and not ending up on the street?
So As you have been doing this 20 years ago, the research has evolved, and so have the obstacle avoidance algorithms. And I myself am in research in obstacle avoidance algorithms, which are now very more adaptable for dynamic environments. So what we do, we take the global information, we do it in 3 different levels. So we do the global navigation via Google, we do the middle navigation with camera sensors and kind of the space recognition on cloud, and we do the local recognition with fast and dynamic obstacle avoidance algorithms, which are mostly based on distance sensors. So either echolocation or infrared, which gives us a fast feedback and which allows us to process the data on smartphones.
A quick follow-up. Of course, this is probably the right thing to do, but there is still this issue. If there is somewhat a stair, which there is a step down, this is probably not so easy. Do you think this can be solved? And then you had the timeline that you will be within a first product within 3 months. Is this all ready technology?
So the first product, minimal valuable product, which we want to test in blind schools, will not be fully autonomous. So this is mostly to test what sensors are the best to guide people around. Because we introduce a new product, which is not the walking stick anymore, but which is now this bracelets. Is it really adapted? How can we improve this? And I think the algorithms to move around people are there and they're ready to be implemented. So this is ready in 3 months, yes.
Okay. Yes. I wonder if you guys have thought like maybe a new value, like stream of revenue, will be that because you have this kind of like system that tells you the information about the environment. Because what I see is that most of the ads or most of the stores are visual, right? So you don't know exactly where to go. I wonder if you have thought about, I don't know if adding ads, but telling you, oh, there is like whatever, Starbucks in the way, right? Would you like a coffee?
Yeah, in a second step, we thought about using local information based on GPS. For example, if you enter the main station, we would have a voice telling you what expects you at the main station. And this can be based on searches, like on Google, but it can actually also be based on stuff that people type in to help the blind people.
I have always plenty of questions. So with how many blind people did you speak? And did you understand what they want and what they really don't want? Can you probably summarize what you learned from them?
Okay. So actually, we talked to blind people, and what they said that their stick and their lines are really limited to that. And for example, we also talked with the Blind People Association, and they said a major problem is like the blind people often go like, they have a very good memory on the path they usually go. But as soon as an object is in their way, or they want to go, I don't know, to a friend's place they've never been before, this is a huge challenge. And there, they need help. So this is what we addressed with our problem, with our solution, and want to solve.
How many of them had a smartphone by themselves when you were speaking with them? There's blind people you have spoken to. How many of them, what is the percentage who had a smartphone? Because you just said before that you will use smartphone to process the data. So do the blind people are engaged in smartphone usage or not? I have no idea, really. It's just a question,
Yeah, so the blind people we talked to, they were all like younger than 40 years. And this is also because exactly of the smartphone, we said that our early adopters are mainly blind people who are young. Those are 40,000 blind people in Switzerland who are younger than 40 years. And so those are also the ones who are probably more open to use a new kind of technology. So we already took this into account for our go-to-market strategy.
Okay, you will provide to all of them one smartphone with the application to use your solution.
Well, if they have their own smartphone, I mean, this is not difficult to have this on their phone, but if they don't have a smartphone, I'm sure we find a way to give them one. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So, now we're entering the last challenge in Switzerland. This is from ETH, partnering with Gerhard Rüff Stiftung. And the challenge they had is, how can digital technology assist learning processes? So the 6 young lads, they stayed at Polyterrasse, and I'm asking them to come on stage and give their final pitch. Voilà. Yeah. Clicker is here. Just make sure that you have it higher.
Shall I start?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Right. Time is running now.
In science, we have the concept that from data, we can extract information. And information gives us knowledge. Let's see an example. Does someone have an idea what this might be? These are pixels from a real image. This is data. When we order the pixels in the right way, then we get a real image. This is information. And information can be aggregated to knowledge. We know that kangaroos only exist in Australia. That's why we can infer that the picture was taken in Australia. In daily life, it's not always that easy to connect the dots. Because we live in an era of digital information overflow. We have so much going on that we can't process everything and store it efficiently. We need to find a way to stitch all the fragments of information that flow to us from different sources in an intelligent way. We want to query them and recall them at a later stage. If we don't do that, we lose lots of time re-Googling. That means searching for information that we had to find previously, but we forgot. It happens to me all the time. All right, so, dear jury, now I talk to you. We have been looking up what you were doing, and we know that you have dealt with AI startups in the past months. And for that, we're sure that you were looking up a lot of stuff online to learn what they do and ask them the most difficult questions. Now, today, do you still recall, do you still remember the most relevant information that you had to look up? Do you even still remember the questions that you asked them? With our solution, we will enable you to do exactly this. Look up the relevant pieces of information in a very short time. And we're really glad that you don't have this yet, because otherwise you would ask us even more difficult questions. All right, let's see how that works. I'm passing the microphone to Ines to explain to us.
With Animix, you are able to collect the relevant information in one single place using your own AI-powered assistant that does all the thinking for you. You are able to collect information, which then automatically gets organized and structured using machine learning. Later on, you are able to recall that information. However, we think that combined knowledge sums up to much more than the sum of the parts. And so we believe you should be able to collaborate, to share your learning, to share your learning paths. So at Animix, anything you see or read on a screen can be saved in your own personal data knowledge base. For example, let's look at this online article. You read the article and you find a piece of content which is relevant for you. And so you save it for later. But you can do this with all sorts of files, with text files, with images, with videos. The options are, well, quite varied. And you can do this both on your laptop and on your smartphone. With Animix, we help you store your relevant information in an organized and flexible manner. Our business model will initially target students and small businesses based on their characteristics, because students are proficient learners, open to new technologies, and small and medium businesses are flexible and agile by structure. We will offer a free and a premium version. With the premium version, you will be able to share and collaborate in learning with your friends and peers. Wouldn't you like to be able to access your friends' brains? You will also be able to have access to an estimate of the time you actually save. And for businesses, we will also adapt our product to corporate structure. It is estimated that every day, employees spend nearly 2 hours searching and gathering information. Of this, nearly 40% is done Googling things that are already searched before. Hence, we believe that our solution will help companies save per employee up to 8,000 Swiss francs per year. In short, we envision lifelong learning paths. Paths that don't get lost in time, paths you can always go back to, and paths that you can share with anyone.
Good.
Hi. Can you elaborate more on how you organize the information? Is there something like new there, or?
Excuse me?
Can you elaborate, please, more on how do you organize the information? Is there something new? I mean, because I guess there is, at some point, there was like add X, right? And then it will be piled
let's
up,
go back.
right? So.
Maybe we can go back. So the idea is you select a piece of content you want to save, you add it to your own knowledge base, and that gets automatically analyzed. And you can analyze on a semantical basis. You can, for example, think, okay, if this is a linear algebra article, then it would get put under the math section. But you can also do this in a more chronological form, for instance. So it's flexible in that way.
Well, basically the idea is to, whenever you add a piece of knowledge, which you find interesting, we would analyze all the metadata about it. So, for example, if it's a website, you would probably look at the title of the website, of the article, what website it is, and the content. That's pretty easy with machine learning. And if it's maybe a file, you can look at the folder which is in, the content of the file, the name of the file, the metadata, and just with machine learning, basically get it a tag and assign it. So you don't need to manually sort it.
But you don't store the file, right? You just store what you saw, what you read. So if it's a Wikipedia article, you don't keep the article, for example, right? You keep a pointer kind of to the article.
Yeah, we thought about that. The idea would be to, especially for websites, we would archive at the moment you would save it, for a simple reason that if the website gets taken down, it changes, you still have it. But the way to go would be to have the online and updated site, so it would be a fallback. And each time you would visit that website again, you would get the passages you highlighted again, so you don't, when you open it again, you don't need to read the whole thing.
So for the last thing, I don't know if do you guys consider a challenge? Because I guess this information is stored in many different companies, right? Many different APIs, like Google from YouTube or Wikipedia is another company with different policies. And given that you are like kind of making money out of this, right? Maybe Wikipedia will not like you to, for example, do this. I wonder if you guys have considered all these aspects.
Basically about data privacy, I guess.
Well, let's say if I'm Google, for example, you said that at some point you want to get kind of the direct access to the file. You don't own the file, but you get the final, the link to get the most updated file. And I guess for that, you will need some sort of API that Google will provide, for example, right? And if it's a Wikipedia article, an API that Wikipedia will provide, right? So I wonder all these entities will maybe be a challenge to integrate in your system.
Well, the main idea is to just crawl the information and crawl the website. It wouldn't be to clone the website. It's just take out the important bits. Does that answer that?
Who will pay that? Big companies, a department? Who is the manager of a team?
Yeah. So if we go to the slide with the early adopters. So basically our early adopters are students and small and medium business companies because they're very agile in their structure and very flexible. So we're targeting this group mainly. So companies that are right now in their process of expanding and growing bigger. And with this tool, they can actually use the information and the knowledge they have so far and grow even faster.
Do we have a price? Have you checked the voice of customer, knowing how much they will pay for that? Is at the end for free at the beginning, but then at the premium, do you have a range of price?
So the question is how much this product would cost?
Yeah.
So we have found, like, through scientific calculations and through different reports, that those companies lose 8,000 Swiss francs per year for each employee. So if companies are ready to pay, to basically not lose this money and pay an equivalent amount of money for this product, then this is enough incentive, I guess.
This is your range, that you can afford to ask the companies 8,000 per year for this product at the maximum price, yes? But
well, there is no specific range so far.
Yeah, okay.
This is like rather an incentive of how much they can actually save through this product.
Okay.
We haven't set an exact price yet, but this is something that we will further develop after we found our startup.
Thank you.
Okay, I also have, again, a question from America. It goes a bit in the same direction that Javier already asked, but given that information changes all the time, how do you ensure that these paths remain current and relevant? So, like, if basically something new gets discovered, how do you make sure that information gets updated?
So this, our system doesn't learn for us. We still have to learn ourselves. So when we store something, we store it because we have processed it and we saved it to Animix. If we need to update this information, then it's still us who needs to do that. So we need notification, we can reopen the website. This might include a login, and then we know what's on there and we can update this automatically.
Okay.
Otherwise, how would the system know what is relevant to us? We humans are in the center of this system and not some strange AI that talks, that defines us.
Moreover, we can structure our data temporally. So I guess if someone works with IT and see article about machine learning from 20, 30 years ago, he would make a guess that it might be not relevant anymore or not that current.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. All right. So we had 5 teams, not just 4. And we have now heard all the teams from Switzerland. And now we will go over the pond again. And to do so, we will play a video. But first of all, I want to introduce you to the challenge. So it was reimagine the ambulance of the future. So we had 5 brilliant minds from the MIT in Boston. Very lovely guys. We had them over. Good chats. And I'm looking forward to their pitch. I haven't seen it yet, but we will show it now.
So we've all been to a party before. You're out with friends, you maybe have a couple of drinks, but this party is a little different. Suddenly, you're feeling confused, the room is spinning, and you turn to one of your friends for help, and suddenly you're on the floor, and someone's calling 911. The paramedics load you into the ambulance, and they ask you some questions about how you're feeling, but they've already picked up 5 or 6 drunk people from this party, and you're showing all the same symptoms as a standard drunk person, so they just take you to the hospital as they normally would. It turns out, though, that you were actually having a stroke, and you would go on to die later in the hospital. And this may sound crazy, but it's actually not. 38% of strokes are misdiagnosed en route to hospital by paramedics. And in looking at the larger health system, $750 billion is wasted in the healthcare system on misdiagnosis. So what causes this problem? Well, being a paramedic is a really high-stress job, and sometimes there's just too much information for them to process. In addition, confirmation bias, where in your case, they saw a bunch of drunk people beforehand and you were showing the same symptoms, so they didn't look further, can be a huge problem when you see so many cases. So we decided to tackle the issue of how might we help paramedics understand patient conditions quickly so that they can make more informed decisions to improve patient outcomes. And that's why we're Augmetic, simplifying vital monitoring so that paramedics can accurately identify patients in critical conditions. So we talked to people from medical professionals to the general public, and what we learned is that there's really 5 vital signs that can indicate worsening trends in your health that can be easily measured in ambulance. So our solution makes it much easier for paramedics to monitor all of those vital signs using integrated sensors, a portable interface, and assistive questioning. Our integrated sensing system puts all of the sensors that you need to monitor those vital signs on the stretcher, and this can be any standard stretcher. It also includes a processing unit to integrate all of those systems together, and an interactive tablet that's portable that displays all these vital signs automatically. The tablet also allows EMTs to input information about the patient, such as what your original complaint was about and general demographic information. In addition, we provide assistive questioning through the tablet, which provides recommendations for the paramedics to investigate patient condition based on the existing protocols that they learned during their studies. Now, why would paramedics want to adapt this kind of technology? Well, even though there's already a lot of things going on from them, when we talk to paramedics, every single one of them hated filing the reports that they have to do for every call at the end. And so our technology allows us to compile the paramedic entry data and vital signs to fill out these post-call reports automatically, saving them time and allowing them to move more efficiently between calls. So let's go back to the party. You're at a party and you're not feeling that great, and you end up falling to the floor, someone calls 911, and now you're in an ambulance, except this time the ambulance has Augmetic. And so when they look at you, they measure all your vital signs, and they can see that your blood pressure is a little high, and your temperature is a little high, and your breathing rate's kind of low, and that they might want to check for stroke. So they call ahead to the hospital, and they say if they have a patient that might have a stroke, and you get better care. At the end of the call, they also have their auto-generated report, allowing them to more efficiently move to their next call and relieve the mental stress on them. In terms of our pricing model, we're currently combining existing sensors in the market into one interface, and so these sensors are normally replaced for about $7,000 every 7 years. To incentivize early adopters, we're undercutting that price at $6,000 every 7 years per ambulance. On the software side, there isn't really a current market for guided protocol instructions, so we're planning on pricing it at $3,600 a year per ambulance, which is roughly 10% of the maintenance expenses that they would normally pay over that 7-year period. And so this gives us a revenue per ambulance of $2,750 a year, which in the Boston market would be roughly $77,000 of revenue per year. Our market incentives focus on the ambulance company, which is our main customer, which wants to reduce cognitive load on employees, decrease their turnover rate, reduce their error reliability, and improve employee satisfaction. But we also want to target the paramedics who will be using our equipment in their day-to-day work. And so they want to save time and energy, increase their focus on patient care, and better their patient outcome. Our product development timeline focuses on, in 2018, manufacturing and R&D, including FDA approval through the 510(k) process. We would have an initial rollout in 2020, which would start with a city expansion in Boston, and then we would expand to other cities in metropolitan and rural areas. From there, we would use artificial intelligence to improve patient outcomes using the data we've collected. In short, Augmetic simplifies patient care so emergency responders can focus on what truly matters, saving lives. Thank you.
Hi, Summer from Boston. I hope you guys enjoyed the views and waterfalls. We miss you. Bye. Bye.
So this will be now the challenging part. We will put them live on. Oh, so we might. It takes 1 or 2 seconds. So in the meantime, I invite the jury to think about the question already.
Oh,
so
there we go. We are already. Oh.
So there might be a small delay when you ask the question until they will respond.
There you go. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So I will try and turn the laptop this way so you can see the jury. Does that work?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. So,
Who wants
questions.
to start? Please.
Yes.
Hi. Yeah, so my question, I have two questions. So the first question will be if this, or I mean, similar technique or approach has been tested in a less stressful way, so that, you know, it kind of has been proven that it can actually help doctors to make diagnosis. And the next question will be, I mean, as far as I know, my understanding on this kind of automated health diagnosis is that it's very hard to, like, you are going to be in the common case, right? But there are some cases that it kind of leads to some really kind of fatal decisions. And especially with things like machine learning algorithm, it's very hard to really, like, you have false positives, false negatives, so that's really an issue. So the question will be, is this really possible ever to be certified so it can replace, let's say, the doctor, or at least like the doctor can use it as a viable diagnosis tool? Thanks.
We can use it as a type of diagnosis to make this possible. So could you repeat that first question? The audio got lost a little bit.
Sorry. Okay, so the first question will be, has this been tested successfully in any incarnation before as a diagnosis tool in a less stressful environment than, you know, this kind of case of paramedics? And the second question will be, is it possible to certify this diagnosis tool? Because what I know is that especially with machine learning, you have, you know, false positives, false negatives, so it's really hard to certify. And I know that's a challenge for automated health diagnosis, that they cannot certify it. So yeah, those are the two questions. Thanks.
So I guess to answer both of those questions, and one of the things that we're told by one of the medical professionals that we think would be, no matter where it's, can you
Sorry.
hear as well?
Sorry. Yeah, not that great. It's a bit chopped. So just try and do it really slowly, so maybe we can hear it better then.
Okay. Yeah, I'll move closer. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So one of the things that we were told by a medical professional is that data, no matter where it comes from, is only used to confirm a diagnosis. It is never the tool that says, oh, this person definitely has this. We always rely on patient history, on your interaction with them, on physical exams, and data is never meant to be the final diagnosis tool. Our startup doesn't aim to make the final diagnosis for an EMT or for a paramedic. We're simply giving them access to the data that will help them as they try to make a diagnosis.
And also, to add on to what Paulo said, our actual technology isn't supposed to diagnose the patient. So our goal isn't to say, this person is having a stroke. What happens is that if you thought the person was drunk, you may not have checked some of the vital signs based on your understanding of the situation. So our technology is integrated and checks these specific 5 vital signs and will alert the paramedic saying, hey, you may not see this happening in the appearance of the patient, but something is dropping right now and you need to act.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have more questions from the jury?
So one question in terms of the data protection. So all this data will be stored on a centralized platform, and so the patient in the moment where he is put into the ambulance might not be able to accept that all this data will be stored somewhere in a cloud. Do you think, how would you address that problem?
So data collection and data storage is definitely one of the things that we've thought about. And
a lot of the ambulances here are privatized, and the regulations between hospitals and between ambulances are quite different. So for us, the data collection happens real time, but the data storage, we don't need to store identifiers to identify whose data correlates to patient or diagnosis or whatever it be. So we're thinking of a more anonymized system for storing the data, but of course, real-time data will be used for the reports, and then that is already done. The reports are already generated, but more manually right now. There's an automated way of generating the report.
Yeah. Can you maybe repeat that last sentence? We had a small technical error. Sure.
The last sentence was that we're using the data in real time in a call to generate the reports, which is already being done in a manual procedure. And then afterwards, we're storing the data as anonymized data for aggregate understanding of whatever trends there are.
Okay. Thank you. We got more questions from the jury. Yes.
Yes, I think it's a wonderful idea. Of course, the question is, why is it not only done today? You mentioned that all these different devices to take some measurements are available. It's only to bring them together somewhat in one system. Is there some specific reason why it's not done today?
Yeah.
So right now, we actually on a first day we went to the ambulance and we saw a lot of equipment was all over the place. Not all over the place, but stored in different areas of the ambulance. When you're in a moving vehicle, it's really difficult to go around and try to go around the patient, grab other equipment. But so a lot of times it may be pretty difficult to go out of your way to grab equipment. So we want to put it in a very easy to use place where you can just integrate it in the stretcher so that it's really all really available. The stretcher is a place where a patient is placed in the ambulance and is the most stable place in the ambulance. It's also the most centralized place.
Yeah, and so in terms of why this data isn't currently shared between devices in the ambulance now, there's a couple factors, being not all of these systems are electronic. So if you're in a more rural area and you're using a blood pressure cup that uses a physical pump, that's not electronic data. But it's also the fact that, at least in the US, the healthcare manufacturing system is fairly decentralized and distributed. And so these systems aren't meant to interface with each other. And companies have no real incentive to build a solution that would interface with products that are developed by other companies right now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Did you get all of that? Yes? All right. Then maybe we can have a little bit of applause for those guys. All right. All right. Then thanks a lot for that. And they're already gone. All right.
All right.
Well
So,
then.
This was live from Boston. They were in the Cube in Boston. So actually, they also watching the live stream and also online on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So further to do, we ask the jury to finish the sheets they're having in front of them. Then we will collect it, and Daria will give you a brief overview what has happened in the last couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah. Be scared. There's like spicy content coming up. No. So yeah, while we evaluate basically the jury criteria and like the points you as a jury have given to the different pitches, we'll have a look back to first how it all started with the starter cube. That was beginning of August. We from the team we started packing. Oh, this doesn't work at all, so I'm just going to stand here. We started packing those little Starter Cube boxes that Sebi already showed you beforehand. These guys here, and all the people participating in InCube got one of these, and yeah, they hopefully were super excited when they received them. Yeah, as you see, we already placed it here where now a cube is standing that some of you guys lived in. So after that, the second step was the OutCube. And I personally wasn't there, sadly, but I heard many, many stories of what you guys have been up to. So the guys went all down to Montana, very beautiful, and had a really cool weekend together also with the guys from Boston. They went hiking, yeah, got in touch with the wildlife in Switzerland in various ways. And, but the weekend was not only all about fun, it was also meant to really equip those guys with the right tools for this weekend. So we had a lot of workshops, pitch trainings, interview techniques, what is design thinking, how do you prototype efficiently. And I think it was a very valuable experience for all of you, and you could learn a lot also for the future. So now, what has happened this weekend? We started off on Thursday evening on the Polyterrasse with beautiful sunshine still. We had our little launch ceremony. Before that, none of the guys knew what team they were going to be in. They also didn't know what cube they were going to end up in. So we revealed it to them right then and there, and got the first all-team photo, sadly without the guys from Boston, of course, but they were already, they could already get to know them a bit better. So I hope everybody was happy with the team they were assigned to. And then it was already off to the respective cubes. So the guys in green, you traveled back again to Montana, had a very nice view right by the little lake. We had the guys in orange there. They went to Bern. Also a really cool view of the mountains in the background, the Federal Palace of Switzerland and everything. A bit more urban style, we got the guys in black. They were right at the busy main station here down in Zurich. Had a few encounters with very interesting people that were eager to get in the cube. And then last but definitely not least, we also had the Polyterrasse cube, guys in blue. How was the view? Awesome. All right. And of course, not to forget, the Boston Cube here illuminated during the nighttime right in front of the iconic Stata Center on the MIT campus. And those guys could already test out what ambulances currently look like. They had a very nice encounter with EMTs and ambulance drivers. So then it was right off to ideating on different ideas, like what can be improved in the respective challenges. We see the guys here hard at work in Bern, collecting ideas, drawing business model, casually showing off some biceps, Marcel. Nice. I think he really missed sports a bit in the program, right? Maybe that's something to include in the future. But it wasn't also not just working during the day. They were also working late at night. Some people got a bit tired after the second day. But surprisingly, the most tired one was not one of the participants, but the facilitator of the cube. But yeah, because of that, we know it was a very stressful time for you all. And we tried to kind of ease up the whole process a bit by posing some mini challenges. We introduced them already last year. We had 3 mini challenges where each cube could collect points. We called them this year qubits. And so this led to the creation of the Qubits Cup. And I will let Sebi explain a bit more what they had to do to gain those sweet, sweet qubits.
So, in a nutshell, every morning or in the midday in Boston, no, at midnight in Boston, excuse me, they got a paper which told them, hey, you can earn some points. So on the first day, on Friday, they needed to do MTV Cribs. It's basically, they need to explain how the cube looks like and what the specialities are, and then we rated the best videos. On the second day, they had the photo challenge. So they needed to go out and take pictures of people, for example, smart looking, or living in 2030 when the polar bear extinct, unfortunately, or looking smart again. So this is basically what they did on Saturday. And this is actually also a beautiful view on Politerrasse. And one challenge was to draw something smart. So, what did we say? In Bern, they ate at Tibits, and every meal they ate at Tibits. So for breakfast, for lunch, and dinner, they ate at Tibits. So that's a Tibits gains. Yesterday, on Sunday, they needed to take a picture the furthest away from the cube. And in Bern, they actually went to the Gurten, which is the home mountain or home hill of Bern. I highly recommend to go there. It's beautiful. And so, I don't want to further to do. I'm very happy to announce that the team with the most points will get, how is it called?
You will get a visit to an escape room sponsored by us to hopefully further your team spirit.
So,
drum roll, please.
Oh. And it's Bern.
All right. With that, we're not ready yet. Okay, so we need to buy some time. Maybe we can. Where are the microphones? I would like to hear from the participants very quickly, just like some impressions. What surprised you most from this weekend in the Cube? Thijs.
Hi. So maybe the amount of food we were given, it was very, very generous. Thank you a lot.
All right. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for every helper that helped. You guys were amazing. We basically, if people don't know, we basically always had kind of almost like a butler at our service. That was amazing. Other than that, I thought all the teams, like at least our team, went amazingly well with the cooperation. And I didn't thought that after knowing people for 3 days, we could cooperate so well. And so I think the OutCube was a brilliant idea for that. It was a good preparation.
We didn't fight even once.
True.
Nice. That's good.
That's surprising.
And those were the most silent hour in the whole weekend we ever had, I think, in the whole weekend. We've never been so silent now.
Like now.
Yes.
All right.
Right now.
Cool. All right. Any more impressions? Like, what was maybe not so great? Ooh. Yes. Yes. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
So I don't know if you've seen the box in Politerrasse, but basically during the whole day the sun gets in, and yeah, it stores heat, and there's people inside. So basic math tells you that if the AC is not working strongly enough, you have a huge problem in there.
So actually, I invite everyone in this room to go outside and have a look at the architectural enhancement that we created in order to protect ourselves from the sun. I'm not revealing the secret here. Go and have a look.
All right. Huh? Yeah. Oh, yeah. What happened?
Yeah,
I
sort
think
of an
yesterday
issue.
night, right?
I think they thought we would like to live in an aquarium as fishes, because we actually had a hole on our roof, so we had to place buckets under the leaking spaces. That was pretty fun and adventurous.
Yeah. I guess the storm yesterday night was a bit unexpected, especially for the cube construction. So we hope you didn't get too wet after all.
Thanks a lot here, though, to Gianmarco, who came to us safe at night and climbed on our rooftop and fixed everything during the storm. Thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, let's give Gianmarco a little bit of applause. All right, guys back there, how is it looking? Soon?
So soon.
I hear
So
soon.
Does the audience have any questions to the cubies as long as they're here?
Yeah.
Right? Afterwards, we will also have an apéro, but now you have the chance to ask those right in front of the whole audience. Yes, please.
Go.
I mean, it's amazing to see, okay, what you achieved in so little time. A question to you, would you like to have the experience like extended instead of having 2 days or 3 days, maybe to extend it to a week, or it was the right amount of time?
Can you pass it?
Well, basically, given the fact that we were working around 20 hours a day, I don't think we could last more than 4 days. For me, it was the perfect timing, period of time to actually develop ideas, grow them together, the ideas, and yeah, develop something that you saw today.
Although, as a good thing, just the first day we got already used to the fact that we were basically a human zoo, so everyone around was making pictures. So at least that's something we assimilated, so we could stay maybe longer.
Yeah, on the format, as he just said, like we were working a lot. I mean, from the morning to late evening, we were just working, and eating the lunch and different meals. To extend more than 4 days, I think the format would have to be changed a bit to adapt to more like conditions that's with sports and everything.
I would say that we can stay only with being assured that we will win and we can quit ETH, because other way, I guess there is too much to do for studies. Sorry.
All right. Thank you so much. Does the audience have any more questions? Because we still need some more time. There you go.
Maybe questions to organizers. Did the last year produce some startups you want to tell us about?
Who of the EC wants to handle that question?
I
Maybe
can handle it.
Yeah, maybe Sebi.
So as I was a participant last year, we learned a lot of things while in the cube, which needed to be addressed to actually really push it to a startup. So one is the mindset I have talked about before, and the second one is the business modeling. So if you don't properly business model, you can have the greatest idea, but you cannot monetize it. And that's actually one thing a lot of ideas fail. So last year, we didn't manage that any proper startup came out of it. So we hope that we actually solve this challenge this year with enlarging the whole process of the student journey and also providing a network to the students in the end of the InCube. Yeah.
All right. Does that answer your question? Yes.
Perfect.
Good.
So there's one question in the middle?
Yes. Luca.
I'm following up on your question. So I'm curious. I mean, you did a great job and you had many ideas. Is there a team with defined next steps? Like you say, all right, let's meet maybe next week and let's see where we go. Do you have a journey, or is it where do you go? What is your plan?
So, which team first? There you go.
First, I need to sleep. And no, actually, we found a really interesting idea that that actually made us have quite a few intense and passionate discussions about it. And in our team, this was actually the 8th prototype we came up with over these 4 days. And at some point, we were discussing which one we should pick. And this was the one where Nico actually said that if we weren't going to pick it, he was just going to code it. So I think we're pretty motivated on that.
Someone else, maybe?
So from the Entrepreneur Club side, we try to put them into our co-working space at Stampfenbach, which is very close to the central station of Zurich. Give them the possibility to work on, get them into the club, and get them to the right experts. So that's what we can provide them. Those are the actual steps we can take, but we can't force the students to do so. And even at MIT, we highly encourage the people at MIT to follow up and get in touch with the people. I mean, they already have a strong network, they know experts, they know the company, they have everything laid out in front of them, and now it's their job to go further.
All right, so I just got the message that the guys back there are nearly done. So that means we can get to the interesting part of tonight. Let's see the winners. Okay, so 2 things. We're going to start with basically the ranking 3rd, 2nd, 1st prize. And the guys from Huawei were super kind to sponsor us, in addition to sponsoring the Cube, also the prizes. So yes, we will see what that might be in a second. And guys, if you're ready with the checks, we can start. Sorry for that. Oh, sure, yeah. One more question. There you go.
Thank you. So to the participants, I was wondering, do all of you want to become entrepreneurs, or are there some of you that are not certain yet, or do not really know what they want to do later? I mean,
Want to take it? Fiona?
I think being an entrepreneur is sometimes not something you choose, you just grow into it. So it's like you get the possibility to see how it could be. So I think it's not about if you want to be an entrepreneur or not, but if you get the possibility to do something on your own, or if you have a good idea to work on that, then you get the insight now, and that will surely help a lot of us.
All right.
Just to follow up, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think everyone here, being that he is willing to be locked up in a cube for 4 days, I think this says a lot. So at least for myself, and I think most people here, if not everyone, as she said, it's more about mentality, and I think if anyone is given a chance, they would take it. I don't think no one would say no. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for these insights. I think now, finally, we can go over to announce the winners of InCube 2018. And so...
Third prize?
Third prize. Who do we have there? Oh, all right. It's SolarRent. Please come on stage, guys. And as prizes, you win some nice wearables from Huawei. All right. Huh? Okay, for the second prize, we have the team from Boston, Augmetic. I think
just go in the middle and then show them.
I think they will take a celebratory picture themselves in the cube now. Maybe we can check back again with them via Skype a bit later on and see if they're partying. So, yeah, we will let them have the prizes, some nice new tablets. There you go. And now, finally, the big winner of this year's InCube. Who might it be? Drum roll. And it's Orama. Come on up on stage, guys. There you go. Good job. Good job. Nice. Quickly, the camera here. Throw in a picture. All right. And ooh. So, yeah. Maybe your smartphone got a little water damage yesterday in the cube, so you got a new one. Huh? Yes. Take a picture quickly. Yes, nice. All right, and in addition to that, we also have something else from our side. We hope you have time tomorrow evening to go together with us to Bern to the investor dinner at the Swiss Startup Days. And there you will have the chance to pitch to a lot of super investors your idea, and maybe already you can convince some of them to invest in you as a startup. All right, so at this point, I wanted to say congratulations to all the teams. The pitches were super good. At least I thought so. What did you guys think? Did you like the pitches? Yeah.
Yes, it was good.
So, just because you didn't win a prize now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't try and continue with your startup idea. I think everyone has potential to become the next big thing. So keep on doing it, keep on grinding like you did this weekend. And yeah, we hope to see you soon on an even bigger stage, maybe. Thank you. So now at this point, I just want to take some time and really thank again to our CUBE patrons, our main sponsors, supporters of the respective cubes. Big applause to them. Also to the jury, of course, from these. And of course, we also have like some little goodies for you. Also, a big thanks goes out to all of the EC Entrepreneur Club sponsors that support us during the whole year. Without them, it wouldn't be possible to like sustain the amount of events we provide each semester. And also special thanks goes out to all the smaller sponsors of this year's InCube. For food and coffee, we had Holy Cow, Nespresso that kept us awake during the weekend, Tibbits in Bern, Espa in Zurich for breakfast, and also furniture and materials. We had JMT that sponsored the cubes in Switzerland with furniture. Bow Concept did so in Cambridge, in Boston. We had the cool ideation box that provided us with all the right tools, markers, pens, whatnot. And also to Emil Freyage for sponsoring the cars we use to transport all the stuff around through the whole of Switzerland. So thank you very much for that. And last but not least, we also want to thank our friends and helpers, guys from ETH Juniors who provided us with valuable connections, Start Global and Junior Entreprise that helped us out also during the weekend with manpower, and also our friends and neighbors at the co-working space for the IE Lab, and of course MIT Innovation Initiative that really helped the team over in Boston realize the project there. Thank you very much. And before we go out to have some drinks and food right now, I just want to make some quick announcements from the ETH Entrepreneur Club. This Wednesday, yes, we have the kickoff with Silvio Napoli, Executive Chairman of the Board of Directors of Schindler Holding. It's going to be a very intimate atmosphere with him in the Kuppelraum at ETH Zurich at 6 o'clock, and he's going to provide some very intimate, valuable insights into his career and his path also as an entrepreneur. So if you're interested in that, please sign up. Sign-up link is here, eth.ec/kickoff. Of course, it's completely free of charge, and we would like to see some of the faces there again on Wednesday. And also, for all of you startup enthusiasts out there, we would warmly welcome you to the Startup Speed Dating on the 16th of October. So applications are open now. If you want to work at a startup, just maybe do a bachelor's thesis there, or just maybe get to know some of the startups. Sign up, get to know the startups there, and if any one of you even has a startup, you can also sign up as that and look for new talents, new talented, motivated people right then and there. Applications are open now, eth.ec/ssd. All right, that was it for the evening. I would like also to give a special thanks to the three main organizers of this year's InCube, Sebi, Gianmarco, and Brian. Can you quickly come up to stage, please? These guys, they worked endless night shifts, endless day shifts, at the end even lived in the rocket hub itself because they had no time to go to sleep. Had to fix broken roofs, had to last minute coordinate stuff, so it was crazy what you guys did, and for that we have also a small gift prepared for you. All right, with that, I would like to send you off. Just outside, we will have some drinks, some food prepared for you, and we invite you to just join us there, mix and mingle with the students. Maybe maybe they are still fit to talk a bit to you. Otherwise, maybe let them sleep on the floor. They're used to it now. So thank you all for coming, and have a great rest of the evening.
Merci beaucoup. Merci. Non. Merci. Merci.